When did I get a message?
You have one new message.
Hey, JP, you fucking freak, we're partying. Where are you at? I'll chirp you later. Here's Sam.
Hey, JP, we celebrated the game tonight. Stop it.
You mean the phone? My name is JP. I'm a robot. I like robots. I have a robot vagina. I am not amused.
What up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Metal Time Radio podcast with another episode of When I Raid Alone. Really just kind of threw this shit together at the last minute, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to do this or Global Unscripted because some of the stuff I'm going to talk about isn't really super game related, but it is about a particular gamer. Just talking about some controversial stuff on, YouTube and stuff like that on his own channel. So basically threw a bunch of shit together, and we're going to do a live reveal of the new Spiritborn class for Diablo 4. And it's going to be for season 5. So we're going to, Blizzard's getting ready to do that in about 4 minutes. So we'll kind of look at that, what they have planned for the new class they're going to add into Diablo 4, which I've been playing since its release. It's been half and half so far, 2 and 4. Seasons 2 and 4 have been great. There's a lot to look forward to in season 5, but we just don't know how it's going to play out yet. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about First Descendant, a game that it's a free game right now from Nexon that you can play. First person shooter game. A lot of fun. I'm going to show a little bit of a clip of the gameplay with that and just kind of explain or tell you about my experience playing it so far. I'm not a professional gamer. I'm casual. So some people are blowing it away and they're got a lot of high stats, but I'm still kind of learning as I'm going along. But surprisingly, I'm not a big fan of first person. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's get rolling here. They started sooner.
Boy, young one, are you all right? Mirel? Oh, you're not well. Please, my child, let me help you.
Stay away from me! Nayrel! Is that how I raised you?
No, Mother. But I must carry this burden alone. I must get to Akarat's tomb.
But look at you. You're killing yourself.
I don't know how much longer I can...
I'm here, little magpie.
Magpie.
I missed you so much.
I'm so proud of you. But now, I need you to give up.
No. Of course it's you. You monster. Let go of me.
That was a cool fucking transition.
Let go. No. You made a choice. And I warned you, little magpie. There would be consequences.
Ooh.
Surrender.
No! I control the stone!
You hold the stone. You control nothing.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I could use some help.
Hello, Diablo community. I'm Adam Fletcher, Community Director for Diablo. Welcome to our Spiritborn Showcase, where we're doing a deep dive for this all-new class coming to Diablo 4, which will include a series of interviews followed by Q&A from Twitch chat. I'm joined here today with Game Director Brent Gibson.
Thanks, Adam. We've been working hard to make something unique for Diablo, and we're finally here to actually talk about it.
Brent, I can remember us at BlizzCon where we showed off our very first cinematic for Vessel of Hatred. Now we're actually here to showcase the Spiritborn for the first time. We're glad to have you back for the full reveal.
Well, that was a good
Thanks.
cinematic.
We've set out to make
that.
an all-new class that comes from the jungles of Nahantu, an apex predator with a deep connection to the spirit realm. So, without further ado, let's kick off this deep dive to the Spiritborn.
Only a few among my people can become Spiritborn. As children, the most promising face judgment in the mist. Our trial begins and ends with pain. Those who are not called are culled. For the weak, all paths end here. For the worthy, that path leads to power beyond compare, and a sacred charge to wield it well. Though the mortal world was designed to break us.
Reminds me a lot of the witch doctrine from
hearts,
Diablo 3.
Our
Ooh,
minds,
that's cool.
Our bodies. There is another which makes us bold. We are without fear. We are without equal. We walk with the ancient guardians of the unformed lands. Their power is our power. Their cause is our cause. We forge unbreakable bonds in the spirit realm to defeat the horrors of this one. For we are Spiritborn.
Oh, that's tight. That's cool. That's really cool.
Wow, and there it is, the first look at the Spiritborn, the apex predator from the jungle. Awesome to finally show it off, and what an incredible trailer. To talk more about the Spiritborn, we would like to introduce Eleni Rivera Colon, narrative designer on Diablo 4. Welcome, Eleni.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here to talk about the Spiritborn class. I'm also a little nervous.
It's okay. We're live. We're doing this live here for everyone. But obviously, Eleni, we just saw here in the trailer with the Spiritborn, and we saw a little bit about that spirit realm. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that spirit realm is?
Yeah. So, I mean, to put it plainly, the spirit realm is a place where spirits go. It's this deeply spiritual place that's a byproduct of Sanctuary's creation. So, as you may know, the angels have the high heavens, the demons have the burning hells, and we have the spirit realm.
We're hearing a little bit about the high heavens and the burning hells here, and players have actually seen both of those places specifically. Kind of like, what does the spirit realm actually look like for players?
Yeah, we really love this concept that the spirit realm is shaped by humanity. So if that's the case, the foundation of that would actually be Sanctuary. So you could imagine being in the middle of the jungle and you're surrounded by these tall trees and these ancient structures. And when you cross over the veil into the spirit realm, you're going to see a ghostly reflection of just that. The big key difference is that you're going to see all the spirits and the creatures that exist there.
Yeah, there are these massive creatures that protect the realm from spirits or they protect the realm and the spirits from corruption. So the Spiritborn class have this harmonious bond and connection with these massive creatures that are called the Spirit Guardians, and they work together toward the land.
You know, it's awesome to hear about the Spirit Guardians, and you know, people saw them in the trailer a little bit there. Can you actually tell us a little bit more about like who these Spirit Guardians are?
Yeah, so if the spirit realm is shaped by humanity, we love the idea that the guardians are formed from human belief. And so if you're trying to survive in the jungle and protection is a thing that you are pouring all of your belief, your hope into, that belief it's magical. It's got power in itself, and it can actually create a creature that represents that. It could represent protection.
Yeah, so as Brent is saying, the Spirit Guardians are this complex creation of Sanctuary's creation along with this powerful human belief. And Spiritborns devote their entire lives strengthening this
The
incredible
jaguar
bond
god, the
because these
gorilla.
Spirit Guardians are
It looked like a centipede
powerful.
or
It's
something.
this
Was
idea,
the
right,
worm.
of what these gods look like. And so they can help protect both the realm and Nahantu.
You know, we saw in the trailer and some of the gameplay, people were, you know, that if you're playing the Spiritborn, you can actually summon one of these in there. Is that something you can do on demand? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, you know, very early on in concepting, we saw this one piece of a simple warrior raising their staff above their head and this massive spirit creature forming behind them, and that really became the lightning rod to a lot of thought-provoking ideas. I mean, we knew what we wanted to do mechanically with the class, but that image really solidified that the idea of summoning a god into battle was really cool, and that actually became the cornerstone for a lot of our development from then on out.
Yeah, so talking about Spirit Guardians and summoning them, the Spiritborn class can summon 4 Spirit Guardians. The first one that I want to talk about is Razoka, and this guardian manifests in the form of a jaguar. So the belief of courage and ferocity, striking on the hunt, attacking a kill with no fear or reservations. The second one is Balazan, appearing as this massive centipede. The belief is balance and persistence. So although some people might see it as fear, it represents harmony and balance, so the give and take of life. And then we have Quatli. The manifestation of this is a majestic eagle, right? So to represent awareness and finesse, soaring above it all, having keen awareness of its surroundings and acting with intent. And then the last one is Woomba. This guardian manifests in a powerful gorilla, so this beacon of protection and strength, and a movable force that holds its ground and sustains under pressure.
So it's great because we've heard a little bit about the spirit realm. We've heard about these 4 awesome guardians. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of the star of the show now, the Spiritborn itself?
Yeah, so I think before we really dive in, I want to talk about Akarat, who is really important with the Spiritborn and the Spirit Realm. For those who don't know, Akarat is this prophet that believed in the human experience and that it gives us this unique power. We have this light within us. And that light gives us the ability to question and to doubt and to challenge. When Akarat made his way to his mother's homeland in Nahantu, he felt this strong otherworldly presence, and he would spend a lot of time with one of his apostles, Isavete, trying to uncover what this mystery was. What was this feeling when he got to the realm, or when he got to the land of Nahantu, until he eventually discovers this veil, and that's the veil between the spirit realm and sanctuary. And he realized that this was this untouched place from neither angels or demons. They had never really had any sort of influence there. So Akarat and his dedicant Isavete would spend a lot of time studying, and he would be the first person and living being to cross this veil. And then after Akarat died, his apostle would then take on the mantle and then found the Spiritborn traditions that we know today.
You know, hearing about the Spiritborn, and of course, like, I'm sure this is a burning question from the community, but the Sanctuary has a long and storied history. Kind of where have the Spiritborn been throughout all of this?
Yeah, so for anybody who knows the lore of Diablo, this region is no stranger to Mephisto, right? So if you go back to Diablo 2 and you look at the story there, his original soul stone was imprisoned in this place. And its presence corrupted the Zakarum faith, it corrupted the region, and the Spiritborn remember this. And so over the course of what's been happening in D4, they've decided to stay at arm's length out of fear that history might repeat itself.
Yeah, so like I said before, this is an untouched realm. It's pure. This is something so sacred. And with Nerel coming back with the Soul
Yeah, I
Stone,
actually got more
this
rest
is
last night,
a
man.
huge problem for the people of Nahantu, but specifically the Spiritborn that are trying to protect this land.
Yeah, and at this point, with him back, they have no choice but to rejoin the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to hear more about the Spiritborn and where they originated from. And of course, thank you, Eleni, for taking us into the spirit realm in itself. We've talked about the new class and how that was created and what they've been up to. Next, we're actually going to take a look at how the art and concepts were designed. We are now joined by my blood brother, art director, Nick Chilano, who is here to show us how the Spiritborn visually came to be. Nick, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Adam. I'm really excited to talk about the Spiritborn finally.
I know, it's been a long time coming. Been a long time coming. Nick, will you tell us a little bit more about like how this class came to be, especially from the art side?
Yeah, first of all, like that trailer, like what an origin story for a Diablo class. Like you got to go into the jungle, you answer the call, you're cold. Like it's pretty rock and roll. And on the art side, like we love that stuff. So I think when you go back to like what Eleni and Brent were talking about, we really want to capture everything they just mentioned from a visual standpoint. So for us, it's about trying to infuse the Hantu, the spirit realm, and a martial arts feel into the class. Brent mentioned that like kind of lightning rod moment. That's something that the art team really focuses on. When those moments happen, we really lock into that and start to do a lot of iteration. So like, concept will start casting a really
the
wide
double
net,
deluge that the
but
weapon
when
that
that
he
happens,
uses is a
we
lot
really
like
start to bring
Wei
it
Yan
in,
from
and we
Dynasty
start to really
Warriors,
do a
which
lot
I've
of
always
concepts
really
around
liked.
that, so that we can kind of get that tagline that the team needs, which is like creating the living, breathing embodiment of the spirit realm.
Yeah, and it's really, after we get past that initial inspirational piece, we want to like drill down into finding that iconic piece. And so when you look at some of the imagery that we're showing today, you can see how we're taking that embodiment and we're bringing it into all of the iconic look of that character. We wanted a class that wouldn't necessarily wear armor to protect themselves, but rather become the guardian that they're all about. And so if you're into the Jaguar, you're wearing the Jaguar helm. Your markings are the spots and patterns that you would see on that creature. The way that you move through the jungle would also be a big part of that package. And then once we have that iconic look, we can actually roll it out to the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's really the DNA of like where we start going. Like those iconic images drive the entire art department at that point. And that's our North Star. So we can move into things like, how do we get the spirit guardians on screen? How do they fit into the combat? If you think about the eagle, is the full eagle show up? Is it just feathers? How do we represent that? And how do we like ramp that up through our visuals so you can start with something, a little more on a certain scale and get to this like epic moment. We also want to explore, visually, like visual iconography at the same time. So while we're doing all that iteration and stuff with the iconic looks and the skills, we're also starting to get into like, what is the identity of the class? Where do we want to put this iconography? And like, what is that visual footprint that they're going to take up on the screen?
It's seeing all this like badass concept art. Like shout out to our concept artists
our
on
concept
the art team.
Amazing.
Yeah, so good. Like how do you guys actually take this from like concept now to actually building out the character from some of this concept art?
Yeah, once we have alignment between the design direction that we want to go. We understand kind of roughly mechanically and from a design perspective where we want it to be and where we want it from an art direction standpoint. We sit down with each department and we actually roll out the idea. We pitch them, you know, and we're like, hey, this is what we're thinking, and really get them to understand where we're trying to head so that when they go off in their crafts and make the best work that they possibly can make, the sum of all the parts end up with a killer class like the Spiritborn.
Collaboration's a big thing. And, you know, it really starts with the character art department. They take these like 2D images and bring them to life in 3D. They will start to figure out materials, the fine details of how our armor's crafted, to like big silhouette shapes. One of the interesting things about this class is we started to recognize that like the helms, the gauntlets, the belts were really great places to like hone in on those like visual elements. Yeah. And another nice thing is like the armor really started to kind of come into the space of being very functional and practical. You'll notice that like the legs are kind of open, the upper body's kind of open. It's because we're making a really fast, agile class. So we want everything to kind of line up. And like Brent said, like they don't need to be fully armored. They are protected by the Spirit Guardians. Their offense is their defense, and it shows when you play it. Speaking of fast and agile, we move to tech art. Tech art really is the team that will kind of find what our limits are and kind of allow us to break them a little bit. So they do a lot of range of motion tests. They're trying to figure out how we can get really dynamic poses, really dynamic lines of actions. And we want to push that because this class really needs us to kind of be in the spot where we're like kind of pushing the boundaries of what we've done normally.
Yeah, it's awesome because like you guys mentioned like super like hypermobile class and you know so the apex predator in the jungle itself, like how do you put that towards something like animation now, like getting the character to move and kind of telegraphing that through that animation?
Yeah, you know, like one of the key elements here is making sure that we have a combat archetype that's unique. So if you take a look at the original 5 classes, each one of them has a very distinct style. And so when we're thinking about the Spiritborn, we naturally went to martial arts. And what does that mean for the movement through the jungle? And actually, I feel like we found a really good pairing there.
Yeah, like the animation team, like they went crazy with reference. They were looking at Muay Thai, Taekwondo, kickboxing, boxing, karate. There was a stunt woman that did these amazing like reference materials that we saw. And the really interesting thing here is we're not trying to like just mimic a martial arts style. We're really trying to find the best pieces of them and seeing where they fit. How can we manipulate them? How can we rearrange them in ways that make a really unique and interesting fighting style for the Spiritborn? Once the animation team has that, and like they, you know, again, they have a wide range of options that they're looking at, they start to figure out like where it fits for each guardian. So, for example, the gorilla is blunt force, lots of strength. The jaguar is cleaves, multi-hit combos, aggression. The centipede is like open palm strikes for applying poisons and unearthing things from the ground. And the eagle is about really precision movements and repositioning on the battlefield. So like they nailed it when it came to that.
You know, honestly, it's like the combination of all the things that we put together. We'd been talking about, it's like we've almost invented our own martial arts style for Diablo. And we'd been talking about this the last few days with all the people that we've met with. And they actually said, hey, does it have a name? And currently it doesn't. So like for those of you at home, if you got ideas,
check out the you know the Spiritborn gameplay and like, you know, if you have names, suggestions, like
we got to name
this thing. Exactly, we're all ears.
That's right.
Well, we've heard about, you know, concept, and we've heard about character art, tech art, and now we just heard about animation. I always call it kind of like the frosting on the cake, and that is kind of VFX, and that makes everything kind of pop a little bit. How does VFX actually play into something like the Spiritborn?
Yeah, you know, at this point, VFX is really they're an amazing bridge between like gameplay and the visuals of the game. And they had a really important lift, which was to try to figure out like, how do we represent like the spirit realm and these like elemental spirit guardians like together? What is that fantasy and what is that story we're telling? So Eleni mentioned earlier that like there's this veil, right? So we needed to understand like, how do you get the jaguar, for example, to like come through this veil, show up in Sanctuary and exit through the veil? So visually, we're looking at like, what is the spirit realm? So we have this like kind of bluish white mist. They come in through the veil. That bluish white mist kind of like trails off of them.
That's
they
so
become
cool.
Physical the Jaguar is now engulfed in flames. This spirit guardian, it kills everything on the screen that you can that's around it, and then it exits through that veil and kind of transitions into that blue-white mist again. That's a fantastic story for us to tell, and it also allows us to start to understand what are our pieces with the VFX and how to then ramp up our basic skills to be maybe lean a little more into the elemental side. Our core skills, we start to kind of blend the two together. Maybe it's the gorilla fish show up and they look like that spirit element, and then then you go into the ultimates where it's just our spectacles ramped up. And to be honest with you, when it all comes together, there is a feel to this class that is really awesome. Kind of inherently martial arts has a rhythm and a cadence to it. This class has that. It's fantastic to look at. You feel it when you play it, and the art team, they killed it. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I gotta give another shout out to the Diablo 4 art team. Absolutely killed it. The Spiritborn is fantastic. It's great to look at, great to play. But Nick, thank you so much for walking us through the creation of the Spiritborn. Reminder for everyone watching from home, we'll actually be holding a Q&A at the end of today's Spiritborn showcase, similar to how we always do with all our live streams. You can drop your questions in the Diablo Twitch chat, and we will try to get to as many of them as possible towards the end of the show. We've heard the lore, we've seen the art. Now let's get ready to talk about some gameplay. I know a lot of people are excited to hear more about how this class actually plays. So next up, we have Bjorn Mikkelsen, class designer, on stage to talk about the gameplay for the Spiritborn. Bjorn is actually here to tell us more about the Spiritborn's overall class kit and design. And later on, we'll get into some itemization, which I know every fan wants to hear about because itemization is, of course, incredible, especially within Diablo. Bjorn, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I know Bjorn will be
One thing
a
they
fan
said
favorite
is
here
that
because he's going to walk us through all the skills and the gameplay for how
we
it
want
works.
to
So Bjorn,
increase itemization
can you kick
because
us
the
off and
barbarian
tell us
can
a
equip
little
so
bit
many
about this
different
new
weapons,
class?
but yeah, all the other classes cannot.
So yeah, just high level, what is this class? Excellent question. So basically what Spiritborn are, they are these jungle warriors who are empowered by the spirits. They're sort of this dexterity-focused class and sort of masters of martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. And so what they do is ultimately all of their actions and their movements, they sort of resonate with the spirits to form sort of these unique combat styles as they're fighting. They sort of mix and match them to hit whatever sort of build they need.
Awesome. So if you are a current Diablo player right now, or let's say I'm a current Diablo player, which I am, I play a lot of Rogue or Barb, where would you kind of place the speed and aggression of the Spiritborn?
Yeah, I would say Spiritborn is definitely probably our fastest, most aggressive class. It's got multiple gap closers built into its basic attacks. It's got several movement skills, very high damage on those, as well as several ways to upgrade its evade skill as well. It's all about kind of getting on a target, sticking to it, and killing it.
Awesome. I know we had footage earlier of within the trailer of players actually being able, and we talked about this earlier, players being able to actually summon in these spirit guardians. So can you just summon a giant jaguar into battle or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of in addition to being these master martial artists, because they're empowered by these spirits, you'll see parts of the spirits, but then ultimately with the ultimates, the spirits themselves will show up on the battlefield and they'll empower you and deal damage.
And it's really the core of the fantasy, right? If we talk about power fantasies, summoning the god into battle is the power fantasy for this class. And one of the things that I really liked about that is that we were getting a bunch of feedback early on about making ultimates more meaningful. And we were actually able to do that with this class ground up.
Awesome. I know people are probably dying to know, okay, let's jump into some spirit guardians. So I think this is a great opportunity. Maybe we should start off with the Jaguar being the first one. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the Jaguar itself?
Sure. Yeah, starting off, Jaguar is a great one. Jaguar is as we've kind of touched on before, it is sort of this manifestation of just like the hunter. It's exhilaration, it's violence, it's aggression. It's attacking repeatedly, kind of just constant pressure as it's going. It's got these ramping mechanics to it. It's got lots of kill streaks. Mechanically speaking, the way we've kind of translated this, its primary focus is attack speed, and it chases that through a new keyword and mechanic that we call ferocity. This is a stacking buff that it can generate, usually via Jaguar skills, that will increase the attack speed of all of its skills, but it will also enhance other Jaguar skills so you can use them more often, reduce their cooldowns, that sort of thing. Moving on to an example, I guess, of a Jaguar skill. First off, here's one we have Ravager. This is a new type of skill we're adding to the game called Incarnate skills. They all have a passive and active effect. This one allows you to maintain your ferocity at just like a minimum level, so you're all just like a little bit fast. But then when you activate it, you kind of go full Jaguar mode. It gives you additional attacks, kind of like whenever you hit something, it does an extra strike. So it can even turn like skills that are like deal a little bit less damage, they can now deal extra damage just whenever you hit something. Moving on to another skill, we have Rushing Claw. This one is the Jaguar's kind of primary mobility skill. It will dash you through a target and slash everything along the way. And the key to this one is you can kind of use it over and over and over again, like multi-strike your enemies. And then finally, of course, we have the ultimate, the Hunter. This will actually manifest the Jaguar onto the battlefield. You'll leap through the air. It's also a movement skill. And when you land, the Jaguar will destroy everything. And it also has upgrades to kind of help chase the kill streak vibe. There's a chance to reset the cooldown after you kill something with it.
Yeah, so if you look at all of these things as a package, you start to see almost a combat archetype built into each Guardian themselves. And that was actually something that was really important to us. So if you were speccing into the Jaguar, it's important to those types of players who do want to keep the attack speed up, that do want to keep their kill streaks going. And you're going to see this as like a through line that each particular Guardian will have their own thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the fast, frantic gameplay, and I will say I have a little bit of bias towards the Jaguar for sure. But I know we want to go on to the other Guardians for sure. And for all our tanky friends out there, Bjorn, do you want to walk us through the Gorilla?
Absolutely. Yeah, moving on to the Gorilla. The Gorilla. Core concept behind protection and defense, but it's not just like passive defense. This is a very active defensive play style where you're shrugging off the damage, but you're also returning it to your attacker. So it's really got this kind of core of like retribution also sort of built into it. Its core mechanic and stat that we work with is damage reduction. It chases us in two ways. One is through using block, sort of actively blocking damage, as well as a second new keyword and mechanic called resolve. This is also a stacking buff, but this one falls off whenever you get hit. So it's really important to keep stacking it and kind of keep stealing yourself and building your resolve back up. But as long as you have any stacks of it, you get the full damage reduction bonus. So moving on to just a couple of examples for Gorilla skills. Starting off, we have Crushing Hand. This is their core spender skill. Kind of just does what it says. We'll smash your enemies to pieces. Kind of neat thing about it is it's actually two separate attacks that kind of overlap in the middle. So you can sort of prioritize a single target and deal double damage to it. Another attacking skill that we have, this one's Payback. This one really leans hard into the sort of aspect of retribution that we have going on. This one will deal a large amount of damage, and that damage will ramp up the more something has hit you. So it's really good for just like ending a fight if you need to. But also like as things are hitting you, that will reduce its cooldown. So kind of you have this flow of like being able to sort of like end fights, but also kind of keep hitting as you go. And then finally, again, we have the ultimate skill, bringing in the Gorilla itself. The skill is called the Protector. It creates a large protected area on the battlefield that will grant you barrier while you're inside of it, as well as several other defensive bonuses that you can spec into with it. And the Gorilla will just smash any enemies that try to come and harm you while you're in it.
Yeah, if you like that bruiser archetype, like this is the build for you. It is definitely about that give and take of damage. I mean, you'd said it earlier, anyone who's been looking for a tank or a tank-like build in Diablo, this is the one that you're going to want to spec into as a part of your kit.
Yeah, it sounds like a really unique way of being able to, especially for tank players, to like bring damage to enemies and stuff like that, which is so awesome. So next onto our third Guardian, of course, we have the Eagle. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the Eagle?
Yeah, so the Eagle. kind of soaring above it all, we've got this guardian that represents precision and accuracy and kind of finesse. Its ability, its freedom of movement, like a lot of the movement that the class has is very aggressive, very in your face, and the eagle really is able to kind of take that to another level and kind of go wherever it wants.
You're just gonna have to choose which particular.
In addition to that, it can also sort of like extend its attacks to sort of pseudo range playstyle.
It'd be kind of cool to just check them out all at
target,
once.
sort of like
but
hit
I don't know. I'm not gonna have time to do all
so
four
its
versions.
core stat that it cares about is movement speed. That allows it kind of, like I said, able to kind of go anywhere it wants and sort of
looks pretty good,
reposition on the battlefield. And it also has several ways to sort of amplify its evade skill, adding damage, that sort of thing to it. So moving into just a couple examples, we of course have to start off with Soar. This is sort of Spiritborn's premier mobility skill. Takes you up into the air, out of the battle for a second, able to dodge mechanics with that if you need to. But also, because the eagle is all about kind of those big impacts as well, it will create a target area where you're going to come down and make those enemies vulnerable so that it just amplifies the damage when you land. Moving on to another example, we have Razor Wings. This is a damaging skill for the eagle. This one has kind of this cool back and forth where it sends it out, allows you to hit something at range, but because it also returns to you, it sort of rewards you for the tactical positioning on the battlefield, so you can sort of line it up so it'll hit different things.
This one looks like it has far more.
And then, of course, our ultimate skill, the Seeker, bringing in the eagle itself to just annihilate your enemies with damage. You cast it anywhere on the battlefield, it charges up and then blasts off. The blast can be upgraded to be a guaranteed critical strike, and while it's on the battlefield, it will also make everything vulnerable for you. This is also like one of the first ultimates that we have, which will have multiple charges, so you can kind of use it back to back or like prioritize a target with it, and there's like a lot of player agency with that.
Yeah, this is really for that tactical player, where positioning is super important. You don't necessarily want to be constantly in the fray, so you still want to output that damage. Maybe you want to put it in a particular place in the encounter, but you can do it by going in and then you can get right back out. So for those players who really like that tactical positioning, that's what the eagle is for.
Yeah, it seems like the eagle gives you that extra freedom of like in mobility, so you can kind of move in and out, especially with things like Soar, which is sick to see for sure.
It's one of my
so unique for Diablo 4 for sure on that end. Last but not least, of course, this is probably our most unique Spirit Guardian, and probably one that I'm sure a lot of people are like looking at and going like, oh, this has got to be crazy, and that is the Centipede. So Bjorn, how's the Centipede play out?
Yeah, so moving to the Centipede. The Centipede is very unique. It represents this sort of abstract concept of the cycle of life and death, and the way we've kind of chosen to interpret that is that it's sort of this epicenter of attrition, but it's also like really about just kind of like this endless or inescapable sort of persistence, and that's like really bad for your enemy, but kind of really good for you. So its core mechanics that it works with that persistence is damage over time, poisoning, crowd controls, that sort of thing. But then it uses those things to sort of empower and sustain itself. So also like leeching life and that sort of thing back to you, sort of draining your enemies as you kill them. So moving on to just a quick example, Stinger is our core skill for the Centipede. This one does a large amount of damage in a small area in front of you, but the sort of interesting thing about it is that damage will also echo out to any nearby poisoned enemies. So it kind of has this adaptive, like dynamic aim, like range that it has, sort of depending on like how much you've been spreading your poisons around the field. So it can like basically like hit the whole screen if you really want to. Another skill example that we have would be Scourge. Scourge kind of takes that sort of like oppressive control that the Centipede has, and it will fear and it will slow and poison enemies and sort of disrupt any kind of like strategies they might have going on and just sort of allow you to turn the tables on them. And then finally, we have the ultimate skill, bringing in the Centipede itself onto the battlefield. This is the Devourer. Poison laser beams, globs of poison everywhere. Just the Centipede kind of wrecking the entire battlefield. It's got upgrades which will also allow it to instantly execute enemies who have been fully poisoned, sort of helping the cycle of life and death to speed up a little bit there.
I think
this is clearly our most Diablo Guardian that we have. It's becoming a fan favorite very quickly. So the people who have gotten a hands-on with it have a lot to say about it. But the cool thing about this one is we took on a really unique design challenge. Like, how do you take a concept of damage over time, dealing damage, regenerating life, and make that kind of the core of an entire
Are any of
archetype.
you all
I thought you guys did a fantastic job
excited
at
to
getting
play
it
this
there.
season with
For those Type A players who
Spiritborn, or
really
are you
want
just
to
going to stick with
manipulate
like
the
your
field
regular
and keep that
characters?
damage
Like,
up and keep that resilience going,
I thought I
this is
might go
definitely that
in
class for you.
Yeah, I
with a
have to
stork
call out.
again, but
It's so crazy seeing a
the
giant centipede
Spiritborn's
behind me
got
right
me
now. But
intrigued. Like, it looks
I
really
know a
kind
lot
of
of players
cool.
at home are probably looking at each of these 4 spirit guardians, and they're going like, "Hey, this is probably the one I'm gonna go with." Just seeing some of the gameplay and some of the play styles. But I think one big question, and that probably a lot of people have, is: Are you kind of forced to go down one of these, or can you actually do some mix and match, or how does that work?
You know, freedom of choice is really important for this class. So if you want to go all in on one of them, go for it. Like, there's no problem doing that. There's
Okay, so you
benefits that you can see
can
from it.
utilize all 4.
But there's also benefits from mixing and matching. Like, we wanted adaptability and
Oh,
hybridization
that's going to be
to be at the
sweet.
core of this class. So it's been a goal from the very beginning to actually get that there. So when you get hands-on with this, like, you're going to want to experiment. We want you to
I
experiment.
thought they were just going to
We
do
know
like
that there's
one
going to be
guardian
many
per
builds that are
person.
very emergent.
That's cool.
And I actually can't wait to see some of the cool stuff that people come up with once this goes live.
Dude, that's
Yeah, exactly. Like, at its heart, Spiritborn is really all about like personalization, sort of expressing yourself. And so like, whichever spirit sort of resonates with you, we really want to allow you to mix and match them kind of to your heart's content, and sort of make that play style choice like fully customizable. And the primary way that we're doing that, or the main way that we're doing that, is the Spiritborn's class mechanic called Spirit Hall. The way the Spirit Hall works is you start your journey off by choosing one of 4 bonuses at the top, the primary bonus. This is a like massive bonus that will add sort of a thematic effect to all of your skills of that type. So like an effect like the Jaguar will add extra strikes and that sort of thing to all your Jaguar skills. But a subtle but very important extra piece of this is that we'll also add that spirit's tag to your entire skill kit. So every single part of your skill kit now has the Jaguar skill. And so even if you want to use like centipede skills, you can still sort of hook into various parts of the Jaguar using this bonus. Then later on in your journey, you will unlock a second bonus. This is a set of 4 distinct bonuses from the first. Each of these kind of has a tie-in with the sort of core mechanics of each of the spirits. So we mentioned before sort of the new keywords that we were introducing, like with the Jaguar has ferocity, the Gorilla has resolve, those sorts of things. These give you an opportunity to sort of mix those into your kit, regardless of like if you are using those specific skills or not, and sort of like add that extra layer on top of your build. And when you're choosing these spirits, these can absolutely be the same. You can pick Gorilla and Gorilla, Jaguar, Jaguar, or you can mix and match them. And it's really important that like they all kind of flow and work together.
So if you look at the nesting doll effect that we have of your skill tree, your class mechanic, this can get complicated very quickly. And so one of the things that the team took on was this idea of finding what resonates most with each guardian, and how do we create some level of overlap so that we can have some synergies between all of them.
Yeah, exactly. As we hit, like each of these has like very clear themes, right? You've got the Jaguar with its attack speed, you've got the Gorilla with its protection. You can definitely build into those, but it was important for us to sort of establish that these spirits, they don't exist like in isolation from each other. They have overlap. They have things that they both care about. And that allows us to sort of create these very hybrid-esque builds that work together. You know, just like an example, right? You've got like the Jaguar is a hunter. It's all about aggression and kind of chaos. And that's a thing. It loves that. But as a hunter, you're also sort of providing, you're also sustaining yourself, which is a thing that the centipede also loves to do. And so they both care about healing, and they both have like different hooks that they can do for that. And so you can really like, if you're looking to get more healing into your build, you can add some centipede, you can add some Jaguar, mix them together, you can make an entire build about healing that is centipede and Jaguar. These aren't like prescribing ways to build, but they're more so just like they're overlapping stats that allow them to sort of communicate with each other. So just a couple examples. We have, for instance, if you want to build like the Gorilla, Gorilla's a lot of protection, Jaguar's a lot of sort of chaotic, constant damage. So when you mix those two together, you get this sort of like semi-tanky brawler who can just kind of go toe-to-toe with anything. and they sort of like dip into the stat of dodge, because dodge
Checking out
is a little
the
bit inherently a slightly more
new
RNG, a little
class
bit
for
more chaotic,
Diablo
kind of
4
Jaguar,
coming
but it
forward.
also
This
kind of
looks
has
fucking
that damage
sweet,
mitigation.
dude.
And so you kind of combine them together. You
I know
have
you
this
probably
very
don't play
like,
this game,
retribution,
but
but also fast-paced playstyle.
these Guardian
Another
creatures
example
are
would be
fucking
potentially
amazing.
if we think about like the centipede and the eagle. The centipede's all about sort of debilitating your enemies and like making them weaker, and the eagle's all about like kind of finding those weak points and like getting these high damage, bursts off. So when you add those two
Well, I
together,
hope
they
your
both
day
care
at
about
work is
vulnerable,
going
sort of
well,
like
my friend.
turning the tables on all of your enemies. And so adding that together kind of creates this character that's sort of just able to like prioritize a target, weaken it, and then just like cull it from the battlefield.
Yeah, I wish I could
I'm so glad
play
Bjorn brought all these like really
games
good examples for
more
us.
than I do.
He's got
I
a
mean,
lot
I
of
know
footage for
I
us to
play
go
more
through.
than some people, but
It's awesome to
I'm
see all
still
these
like a casual.
skills
I'm
and
not
how they
like an
work with the
expert
actual
gamer,
Spirit
but
Guardians.
I have
Of
fun.
course,
It's a nice way
the
to just kick
big
back and
popular
relax a little
topic
bit.
that comes with
Sometimes
every
that's all
single
you need
class
to
is
unwind.
itemization. And I know we have a lot to
Sometimes
talk
Neko
about
will sit
with
down here,
legendary
watch
aspects and
TV while
some
I'm
uniques as
playing.
well. So
She's watching her
Bjorn,
shows or
Brent,
whatever.
like,
It's just
how does
a way to
itemization
hang
work with
out.
Spiritborn?
Yeah, we
chill.
all know that itemization is the heart of the game, right? And as we've been moving through our itemization journey with this game, we've had a really great opportunity to fold
The
in
good thing
all the
about Diablo
feedback and
4,
how
though, if
that
you ever
applies to
choose
the
to play
Spiritborn as we've
games,
been
is that
developing. And one of the cool things that we
it's
did
not
was took the
uber
opportunity to
complicated. It's just a
actually
matter of just
lean into the
killing
things that
things,
you get
and
from
sometimes
items
a little bit
and
repetitive,
see
but
how
it's
they
still fun. Same
build
with
into the spirit's abilities
First
themselves.
Descendant, which
So
I'll
we're going to
talk about
show a
later,
few
but
examples
that
of
game's
that. Now,
actually
this is
free.
just the
Diablo,
tip
you
of the
got to pay
iceberg.
for, but
There's a lot of really cool
it's
stuff
worth
coming,
it to me.
but we thought
But
we'd do a really quick
First
breakdown and
Descendant's
show
a
you what
first
that looks like.
person shooter
So just
game.
hitting a
I've been
couple
having a
examples,
blast with them. I'm going to be
we
talking
have
about that a
added
little
this
bit later, but
large
it's so
suite
much
of
fun.
Spiritborn legendaries and uniques to the game. But just to break down kind of some of our thoughts as we were working with them, sort of the types of legendaries you can expect to see. One example, as we were just speaking about sort of these hybridization things, there's a lot of different stats in our game and sort of making them work together, not just like work together, but like be cool together.
We need
so
a
we kind of have this
focus,
category of items that will sort of interweave a couple of different
and
stats.
the
Secondly, we have our power
Druid.
augmentation legendaries. These just kind of let you take like your favorite skill and ascend it to its final form and just kind of like go crazy with it. And then thirdly, we have sub powers. These are sort of things like we think of them like rogue grenades, barbarian, dust devils. These are sort of things you can sort of build around. They're sort of almost like skills, but they don't exist in your skill tree as things you can put on your bar. And then finally, we have our unique items, which are there to enable you to sort of make the craziest builds you can think of. So moving on to a couple examples, just kind of one for each real quick. We have Tormentors. This is an example of a hybridization legendary. This one interweaves poisoning and thorns together, kind of in an interesting way that'll allow you to apply your thorns, in a different way than just like having something hit you all the time. It's great. You can probably see the connection. Gorilla, Centipede, they'll love this sort of thing. Moving on to an example of a power augmentation, we have Bristling Vengeance. This takes the payback seal that we kind of hit on before. Usually it's like a smaller AoE like right in front of you that just hits one enemy, but this one really allows it to sort of like extend its range, hit multiple enemies, as well as apply your thorns over an area. And then thirdly, we have an example of one of our sub powers. This one's called a Pestilent Swarm. The cool thing that we're kind of trying to out with each of our sub powers is there are multiple legendaries for them, and they sort of allow you to customize how they work. So there's like one that'll let your Pestilent Swarm like poison enemies, one that'll make it spiral, one that'll even make it orbit. You can sort of like combine those, like you can have it orbit and spiral, or poison. You can just have it shoot off, kind of whatever works for your build. We really want people to be able to experiment and play with those sub powers. And then just a couple of teasers, some of our uniques. These are some unique boots that basically allow you to override your evade skill with soar, just get the ultimate amount of mobility you can think of. The neat thing about that is also that it allows you potentially like to take soar off your bar. You can't let it go, but you at least kind of get to keep it with you in that evade slot.
Oh, kind of like teleport.
And then another example
Fucking
would
nice.
be our unique quarter staff. Which is one of the two weapons we're adding with the Spiritborn. This one sort of allows you to ramp up your basic attacks. Spiritborn's basic attacks are a little bit special. They're kind of really cool. They're these 3-hit combos, and each third hit does like a special thing. And this specific unique basically lets you get that third attack all the time. So then we have to take their third attack and make it a triple version that almost turns them into a different skill entirely.
Yeah, this is awesome. Seeing all the couple of examples of uniques. As Brent mentioned, this is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I personally would take the soar boots all day. Being able to use, soar as an evade is absolutely amazing. But I want to give a huge thanks to Bjorn for walking us through all the skills, especially associated with the Spirit Guardians, and of course, the itemization across the whole entire class. We will actually have an extensive look for the entire community after the show on our blog. It will provide a great amount of detailed.
All right. So we got basically a good look of, you know, the Spiritborn class for Diablo 4, you know, coming up. And, you know, basically, you know, I'm pretty excited for it because it looks like a lot of fun. Like, it looks like we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And the fact that they're allowing us to mix and match a little bit the Guardians, because I wasn't sure at first if we're going to be able to do that. I thought you might have to like just choose one specific type of route to go, but the saying that you can mix and match a little bit. I think the funny thing is you almost better mixing all four because each one brings something different. So initially I'm thinking I'm probably going to go lean heavily on Jaguar and Eagle, but you're going to probably need a little bit of the Gorilla and the Centipede for healing and stuff like that. So somehow I can't wait for the meta builds, maybe from Sladra, Rax, you know, guys like that who Rage Gaming, you know, they put together some of their builds. And so it'd be interesting to see what they come up with for strong builds. Now, this is going to be interesting. I think now in season 2, like I was so excited with everything that's when I ended up doing each character up, you know, except for the Spiritborn. I played all the other characters. So I have basically one of each character except for Sork. I have like 3 now because I played as Sork in season 3, season 2, and season 4, which we just finished. So I have one there. So I've been working on it a little bit differently. Obviously when season 5 takes off, I want to do Sork for each season, but I want to play the Spiritborn too. So I'm probably going to do the Spiritborn class first. See how that goes, and then I'll go back and start a Sork on that season as well. Because I do want to try, like, again, even for the Eternal Realm characters, I still want to play around with like whatever tinkering they do with tempering and masterworking and stuff like that. I want to be able to go and basically see what changes and improvements they make, because it's all important. Like, to me, there's still some things they need to work on, which they're aware of, but yeah. All right, so before we get into did I do that? What did I do there with that? What is this? Just checking something real quick. Like I said, I pulled this kind of out of my ass like at the last minute. I wasn't planning on doing it. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Okay. So I'll just leave that there. And I can get rid of that, I think. All right. So before I get into the First Descendant, because I'll end with that, just my experience playing the First Descendant, before I get into all that, I'm going to get into the Asmongold drama a little bit. It's not really drama in terms of, you know, trending on the web or anything or on YouTube. As anyone who's followed me knows, I do like Asmongold a lot. I really like 95% of his takes. He and I agree on quite a few things. Just here and there, there's stuff that we don't. And the funny thing is, when we don't agree on something, like, it's like really egregious in a sense. Like, I'm not gonna call him names or anything, but so to kind of lay this out, for those that don't know, there's a streamer called Destiny, and he's more of a politics. He is kind of a gamer at times, but he's more politics, social awareness type of streamer. So he's very controversial, very left. Not that that's a problem necessarily, but you know, for all the crazy right, he's a crazy left. Him and Hassan and Denham's TV and all of them, they're all in the crazy world, I call it. The first time I ever came across Destiny in terms of who he was when he appeared on the Whatever podcast with his then wife, Melania. And to be fair, like, I had no problems with him and his open relationship with his wife. Like, they both went into that knowing that that's how they were. They were just swingers, I guess. So the Whatever podcast, I've had my issues with them. Sometimes I agree with some of their takes, sometimes I don't, because I'm a libertarian. I can kind of see things down the line, so it depends on what it is. But that was the first time I was exposed to Destiny as a person, as a character on YouTube or on streaming. And so most of the time I don't agree with him. Like, a lot of his ideas and his thoughts are just way out there. Like, I just don't really agree with him a lot of times. But obviously he doesn't like conservatives. And, after the Trump assassination attempt the other day, he went on, and to me, he's more of a poking the bear type of guy. He's just trying to get a reaction for saying the dumb shit. Whether or not he really believes it, maybe not. But he was saying something to the equivalent of like, well, if I have any followers that are conservative and they were there at that rally and ended up getting shot and killed, yes, I would make fun of them the next day. Like, to me, it's like, it's there's two things at play here. And these are two things I'm going to apply to Asmongold's take on a couple of things. One is, like, on my platform, like, as a libertarian, I can honestly say I don't use it to try to promote myself as a humanitarian or a good Samaritan. Do I feel like I'm a good guy? Yes. But do I care about the world in the way that some of these far left people claim they do? No. Because mainly I don't know them. I don't know people in the other world. Like, you can empathize or sympathize with people, but I'm not someone who's going to spend money to go donate to charity obviously I like the other day, there's a homeless guy that's down the road from us, and it was fucking hot as shit outside, man. And he was there with another homeless lady, and just on a whim, I bought a couple of bottles of water and took it over to him. But that's kind of like the limit of my generosity, maybe $5 here and there for whoever I bump into. But I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go out of my way to start a cause or GoFundMe or stuff like that, or whenever people try to say you got to go and march and protest about all this, and I don't do that. That's not me. I don't care. Like, for me, humans are like parasites on this planet, okay? And I say that not really to be an asshole, but just to say that we kind of are. Like, we feed off each other. The media takes advantage of that by showing our worst sides of one another. We never get to see the really good stuff about humanity. So, but the reality is most of humanity is kind of like this. And we see it even in streaming. Like, we all grift off one another on one way or another. And the thing is, like, guys like Destiny, man, they're just parasites, man. They just are. And, like, it's not that they're not entitled to their opinions of something, but they just are. And I don't really care for his takes, and especially stuff like that where I think it's very egregious. So anyway, he ends up getting banned from Kick, which is a platform like Twitch that generally doesn't ban people because they let a lot of people do some very crazy shit on there. Pranks, harassment, sometimes illegal shit. And Asmon will kind of talk about that in his first clip I got for you. But here's my issue with Asmon is that, to me, Destiny getting banned for 14 days or 5 days or whatever it was is a legitimate reason to get banned. Okay? It doesn't matter if someone else hasn't got banned for similar stuff. His reason is legitimate. So let's take a look at the first clip that I got for you, which sets up the second clip because it's a big contradiction on Asmon's part.
Kick banning Destiny. Is this against the rules on Kick? I really don't. I don't even know.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy. Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay? Just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, you don't, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
So apparently Kick has rules and it's 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it ended. I saw his post. It was like the 31st that it's over. So it's not like he's permabanned. It's just that he's suspended on Kick. Let me see. Did somebody actually make a post about him being suspended on Kick? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take a look at this. So, Destiny got banned off of Kick, and wait, Kick bans people. Yes, exactly. Likely triggered by mass reporting. No, that's not what happened.
See, and I don't really agree with Asmon here because he goes on to say that people don't mass report on Kick because otherwise the bans would happen more often, but that's not really necessarily true because one example he gives that he's going to come up with here is there was a girl who streams on Kick and she somehow instigated and got this woman to jump into a lake. And this woman was clearly either homeless or kind of mentally ill. So she wasn't of all her mental capacity. So the woman didn't know how to swim. And so instead of trying to help the woman get out of the lake, they just walked away, which is a crime, right? But there's no data to suggest that when that happened, because people were saying she needs to be banned off Kick, which is true. That's really a criminal offense. She should have been arrested. But if nobody's mass reporting that, then she's not going to get banned because no one's the wiser, right? I'm sure even the people who are against her being or on, for her to be banned, they might be a small minority of people. Not everybody who watches Kick watches that. So, but Destiny is a much bigger figure. He's a much bigger figure. And so his reach is larger. And so when people saw what he said about the Trump thing and how he didn't care about the firefighter who was protecting his family just because the firefighter was a conservative is embarrassing. Like, that's just terrible take. And so Asmon is wrong in the sense here that he doesn't know for sure if it was mass reporting or not. He can try to make that opinion, but the reality is chances are it was mass reporting because Destiny has a larger reach. So more people are going to see it. Destiny was just on Piers Morgan, which is a nationally televised show and it gets on YouTube. So it unlike the girl who convinced the homeless lady to jump into the lake, that doesn't have the reach that Destiny does.
He didn't get banned for mass reporting. If that would have happened, then you'd see everybody getting banned all the time. People say good riddance, but I'll call them hypocrites. How do they ban Destiny for his opinions when there are legitimate people straight up committing felonies on a platform and getting unbanned? So here's the truth. Do you remember that psychotic, disgusting bitch that convinced that crazy fat lady to jump into the lake? Do you remember that? As far as I know, she's not banned. So if you had to ask me which one is worse, wait, did she get banned or not? I want to make sure she is not banned. So she is currently not banned. Is that correct? Because I don't want to go starting fucking shit whenever it's not the case.
Now, let's be clear here, too, about this. We can only assume that the woman that jumped in the lake was of limited mental capacity. We don't really know. We're going by what they're telling us on the video. Now, I haven't kept up with it, so I don't know all the details. Like, for all I know, that whole thing could have been staged. I do not know. But Asmon arguing about which one is worse, they're both bad. Let's not be obtuse about it. They're both bad. They're both bad looks. Does the girl that did that, if that was legit, deserve to be banned? Yes. But I'm going to use Zach's own logic behind him because he often says that life isn't fair, which he's incredibly right about. Like, life isn't fair. We talk about this all the time. So in this case, when it comes to Twitch, YouTube, Kick, whatever, these platforms never consistently discipline the people on them fairly. It never has been, and never will. There was the Denims chick who put the bounty on, or raised the bounty against Asmon himself. Now, Asmon didn't care. Like, he cared to a degree, but, nobody mass reported her to get her off. I mean, I'm sure some people did, but the reality is that these platforms only deal with people and when they want to. And go back to Casey Tron and what she said about Asmon's mother when she passed. Like, some of that stuff is very vile. And like, if you ask me, yeah, you should be banning those people, but life isn't fair. The problem that I have here is that Asmon isn't being consistent with how he applies his logic. So, he tries to move the goalpost from, what Destiny said to what this chick did. Like, you're moving the goalpost to make excuses for Destiny, and you shouldn't be doing that.
She's back. Yeah, that wasn't political though. But that's not. Well, how does that? Like, I'm really confused about what you mean by that. So yeah, and Destiny's ban's only like 4 or 5 days. Yeah. Anyway, so this is really what my point is. I think that there's a lot of things that have happened on Kick that I think should be banned, and I think that banning Destiny for this does draw attention to a lot of the other content on the platform that is, by any sort of definition, worse than saying that you don't care that somebody got killed. Like, I feel like getting somebody killed or doing something that could get somebody killed is worse than saying that you don't care that somebody got killed, right? That's just me. So I can see videos of people joyriding and driving, 150 miles down the highway on Kick. This could actually kill somebody. So how is it that Destiny did something wrong? Now, obviously, Kick is completely justified to ban anybody for any reason they want. However, I disagree with this. I don't think that he should be banned. Now, you can maybe take away partnerships, you can maybe take away other things, but actually taking him off the platform when you have people that are committing felonies regularly on the platform, that's insane. And I get, like, listen, people...
He's not wrong in the sense that these other people shouldn't be banned off the platform. There's some people doing some pretty heinous shit on there. But again, my problem is that he's choosing to move the goalpost to protect Destiny, and he does this quite a bit. And I don't know if it's because he might be friends with Destiny. They usually don't converse all that much, but he's gone lately out of his way to really, put himself out there to defend Destiny, who I think is really kind of like a piece of shit dude. He's just one of those guys that I think that should not be defended for some of the shit that he does. Even if you feel like all the other people on Kick that are doing these things should be banned, coming out and just saying, hey, yeah, man, he shouldn't be banned for this. And then there is a point where Asmon said, like, well, he's just having free speech. Well, his speech was never taken. He was able to say whatever the fuck he wants. That wasn't taken away. But there's consequences for shit that you say. And even Asmon knows this.
Or like, well, that's just what you get. This is consequences. It is, but you can't expect people to respect consequences whenever they're asymmetrical.
It doesn't matter. Life isn't fair, dude. That's what you've said time and time again. It's not fair. That's just how life is. None of the platforms, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Rumble, they don't apply shit fairly. They don't. Dude, fucking Sniper Wolf fucking doxed a dude. She got banned for what, a couple days, maybe a few hours, and then she was back on. It's not fair, but that's life. You have to deal with that. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up, because people are like, well, what's the big deal here? The big deal is going to be the next video, because this is where Asmon turns around and he starts behaving in a different manner in terms of what's being said by people.
So, yes, I do not agree with this. I do not think this is a good idea. I hope that he gets unbanned. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying, but I think that he has the right to say it, and I think that's the reason why people like Kick. It's because people can say bad shit, and they don't have to worry about it.
All right, so that's that one there. Now, to set up the next one, there's a VTuber, and I forget his name offhand. I'll have to make sure to credit him for his work and Asmon for their videos. But he comes out and the VTubers, talking about other VTubers that are making some pretty heinous comments about Trump and how the killer shouldn't have missed, or the assassin shouldn't have missed, and all this stuff. And the difference in Asmon's takes and persona changes drastically from this. So he goes from totally like, oh my god, Destiny should not have been a fucking banned, it's such a crime, to like, oh my god, these comments are heinous, these are fucking, what the fuck, dude. Like, it's like he took no offense to anything that Destiny said at all, which is egregious. It's horrible. A fucking dude, a firefighter, lost his fucking life, and your best thing is to sit there and say the worst thing is that Destiny got banned for it? Fuck off, dude. Come on, you're better than this. But we're going to check out the other video now. Like I said, I love Asmon, I do, but this particular hot take by him on these two things is like just ridiculous.
So how is it that how do you do this?
As well. And today we're going to do just that. We're going to keep looking at more VTubers saying this stuff, and also look at some members of the game industry as well as game journalists who are saying similar things about this event.
Oh boy, here we go.
And before we get into the new examples, I just want to really reflect here for a second. I spent a lot of time going through the comments of this video, and I have to say I am very, very impressed with how people reacted to this video. I am happy to see people from all ends of the political spectrum, people from all walks of life, coming together and realizing that glorifying and encouraging violence over politics is too far. And I'm glad people got there. And
now notice what he just said, right? Encouraging violence. Now, the thing about Destiny's comments, when he says he would mock any friends that were killed at that rally that were conservative, when Destiny went on Piers Morgan, he said that after he was pushed by Piers, mind you, he said that he wouldn't wish death on anyone. But the thing is, I think he said that to just cover his ass. I think Destiny really would care. Like, I think Destiny would love to see violence against conservatives. I really do believe that. That's the impression that I get from Destiny, is that he's that kind of guy. He just wants, the thing about some of the people here in this video versus Destiny is that they word their shit like Destiny's smart enough not to say certain things. But I would put him exactly with this same crowd. I would. And Asmon can say all day that no, he's not like them, but he's lying.
Made that realization.
I think the reason why is because it's just something that's obviously indefensible. And I think that what really makes people mad is it's like the sense of self-righteousness that those people have.
Yeah, and it's because they're just like Destiny. They go on their platforms, they preach about how great a humanitarian they are. They preach about how they're so angelic because they do all these good things. And then they turn around and they do things like this, and like just like Destiny, he would celebrate conservatives dying because in his mind, Destiny feels like since there's a portion of conservatives that celebrate Pelosi's husband getting hit with a hammer or something, that somehow justifies him acting like an animal. Which Asmon defended. He's like, yeah, I understand why you did that, sure. And so like I hate the contradictions and hypocrisy. Like, if you're going to prop yourself up as some sort of white knight and you think you're better and your shit don't stink, which is what Destiny does, well, then you don't have any right to sit there and complain about being banned. Fuck off. You don't. I don't feel sorry for you. You're going to say the shit you say, you're a piece of shit, dude. End of story.
This is absolutely insane. People like this are so delusional, and their worldview is so delusional that they're living in an episode of The Handmaid's Tale, okay?
So somebody says, I checked their account, they're 15 years old max. So they're probably 31 then. Okay. And also, like, if somebody's 15 and they're being an idiot on the internet, I remember whenever I was 15 and I was on the internet, and I remember getting checked for it. And it was in...
Which, Asmon didn't check Destiny at all. In fact, he went out and made excuses. Where keep in mind, people, this video, this one that Asmon did, only came a few hours after the Destiny one. See the flip-flop? Because depending on who you are in his world, in his circle of friends and hemisphere, it changes drastically. There's consequences for everything. Quit crying about Destiny being banned. I don't give a fuck if you feel like it's unjust or not. It is just. Just because not everyone is being handled the same way in terms of bans doesn't mean it's unfair. It's bullshit. If you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. It's that simple.
In retrospect, one of the best things that could have happened to me.
By the way,
the political implications of assassination attempt.
Two people died. One of them was the shooter, by the way. And they're seemingly expressing some sort of sympathy for that. That's very interesting. But yeah, in reaction to all this, they have privated their account. Like,
good, that's what happens. You put a public opinion out there that's fucking stupid and people disagree with you. That's what you get.
Yeah, it's what Destiny got. He got, bitch. He said some stupid shit, got called out on it, got caught by a kick, and they said, man. That's how it goes, right, Asmon? Your logic, brother.
You want to avoid having this happen? Stop posting your opinions on a public space.
Yeah. Destiny, stop posting your opinions in a public space. This way you won't get banned.
I don't see how those two things are related. I don't. That's what a negative... Is this what a negative IQ does? Yeah. The worst assassination attempt of all time will distract from the massive massacre carried out by Zionist forces in Gaza today. Totally true.
Attempt.
Yeah, they start going into some other things. There's still like, I don't know, 10 or so minutes of this video I don't really want to get into. But you can see how he approaches these comments versus what Destiny said. And so, like, and the funny thing is, they're all on the same wavelength. The only difference is Destiny just was smart enough not to word it like this. But we know he feels that way. We can tell. It's easy to see. He's so unapologetic about all of it. But yet, for whatever reason, Asmon felt the need to say that he was so unfairly treated. Like, get the fuck, dude. Come on. You're an idiot. And Asmon's not an idiot, but in this case, he's a fucking idiot because you're fucking spinning shit, dude. You're just trying to make excuses for a guy that doesn't need them, and it's ridiculous. All right, that's enough of that rant. I just needed to get that out there because it kind of drove me insane. Like I said, most of the time, he and I will see eye and eye on a lot of things that, when it comes to social issues, politics, gaming, whatever. But today, he was just off his mark, man. Just fucking bizarro land. I don't know what the fuck happened to him today, but he definitely contradicted himself a lot in these two videos, and it's all in the same fucking day. It's like I didn't have to work that hard to find him. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the First Descendant because, it got really popular. It's a first-person shooter game, which I'm not usually a big fan of. I'm not really good at them most of the time. I wouldn't say I'm a master at them. But it's a free game, so I was like, all right, well, let me give it a shot because a lot of people were talking about it. It has some cool graphics. And to be honest, man, up until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I've been playing Diablo 4 like nonstop. I wasn't really playing anything else, despite some of the talk about Stellar Blade, which I still want to play. But I haven't really played anything else. And people are like, man, you're still playing. Like, I've tried PoE and Last Epoch and stuff like that. They just don't do anything for me. Like Diablo 4, it keeps it simple. I like simple. And I've just been playing it. I've been kind of enjoying it. I've been kind of just going up and down the ride like everyone else. And as you saw earlier in the video, you know, I'm kind of excited for the new class in Season 5. But First Descendant is a really cool fucking game, man. It's really cool. And I've been having a blast. Been playing the shit out. I haven't played Diablo 4 in weeks. So mainly because I've already kind of hit my limit to what I want to do. You know, there's things in Diablo 4 I haven't achieved like some other people. Like I'm still not hitting like massive power like some people, but rather than sit there through the grind over and over and over again, I kind of just taking a break and doing something else. And so now I'm grinding for First Descendant, but I'm having fun doing it. Like this is new experience, new fun. And I got a little bit of video just going to show us a little bit of the trailers and the gameplay. I'll speak a little bit on it of my experiences with it, but surely you can give me in the comments any of your comments regarding any of these topics. Let me know how you feel about it in the end. But let's check out some of First Descendant.
I saw everything. The connection between two worlds. About a century ago, humans were defeated by the Vulgus. Invaders from the other world. Then came the Colossi, who destroyed everything. Humans resisted until they could no longer. Then they found hope. They were gifted the forgotten ancestors' power. Finally, they could fight with newfound strength. But another threat had emerged. Karel, the new leader of the Vulgus. His dark ambitions are driving both worlds to the brink of collapse. We must fight back. With the ancestors' power bestowed upon us. Descendant, can you hear me? I've been waiting for you.
I don't know if this is all the cinematics, which it might be.
There has to be another way.
That's one of my favorite characters. Yes,
this is our only chance. We have to strike.
The cool thing about this game is you kind of start out with one character to choose. And then as you go along, you pick up pieces and stuff that will eventually you can unlock other characters. So like the second one I unlocked was Bunny. She's very fast. She's, you know, some people complain she's a little bit too powerful, but I kind of like that about her because she does have that speed. And then also, like, you know, you can't really use her in everything because some creatures that you fight are, because like she's like Bunny's like electric based, so you can't use her against every boss, you know, or type of villain or you know, enemy, because it won't be effective like it would something else. Like, so Viessa is mainly based around frost. Freyna, who I have now, is more of a poison toxic type of attack. And then I just got Sharon not too long ago, and she's little bit more of cloak and dagger, and she's kind of fun. But the only things that I don't really quite fully understand yet is like I've managed to reboot or re-prestige Bunny and Viessa. So they're both basically you hit 40, and then you get this like crystallized thing that you restart at 1, but you're kind of like a level up. So it's really weird how it works. I'm not sure. I don't totally understand that part of it. But let me see, is there okay, yeah. So this is the character I started with. And you can kind of see down here the skills. So this one's like she can throw a thrust bolt. The second one here is where she's running. She leaves like a path of frost. It's almost like a Death Knight in some ways. The third one is like she'll sweep a frost like Sub-Zero. And then there's Z is this one here, which is like you can basically conjure like a big storm, and so that's like your ultimate skill there. But you know, as you go along, you keep unlocking these characters, and there's quite a few of them. There's probably like 8 to 10 characters overall, I think, and each one has a specific type of build. But the thing that I kind of run into is that I'm still learning how the modules work, because you add modules to your character to give them certain skill sets, and then modules to your weaponry, and then you get ultimate weapons, which you can either build or just they drop to you. And yeah, it's very interesting. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'll let you look a little bit more of this. The ice beam, like, and there are different skill sets you can have. Oh, I will say this. One of my gripes about the game is, so as you get descendants, like, and you build them up in their particular builds, you can save it as a preset. But the issue is that if you go to switch a descendant, you have to go back and rechange everything. You can't load a preset from the character that you saved before, at least to my knowledge. Like, I haven't figured that part out yet, but I've had to go back and do all my modules and everything for each whenever I switch descendants. Like, I don't like the fact that if I save it, I have to either take away the gun and put a different gun in place, because certain guns work best with certain characters. And right now I don't like that setup, and I don't like that you can't interchange them at any given moment. So that's part of the problem too that I have as far as like some of the negativity for it. The way that you go about doing that, like, unless, you know, those guys that are better gamers than me can kind of inform me or give me some advice how to better set up my presets and stuff, so that I don't have to keep changing my modules out and stuff. I mean, obviously you have to kind of adjust them as you get more modules, you get better modules, etc. But right now I don't like, every time I have to change a character, it's like, it takes me like 20 minutes to set up my character to the way they need to be, because each one is different. Now what you're looking at is all just cinematics. This isn't really the gameplay here. Graphics are great though. The graphics are really, really fucking cool in this game. Alright. Do we actually have any gameplay here, or is it just cinematics?
Watch
there we go. Okay. So this is what it's like to play.
They blew up the bridge.
Any unit? There's only one way out. Check the area, then get back to the higher ground.
Woohoo.
Reload weapon. So annoying.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they do have like these little voice things to each character, and like Bunny, people say they get tired because she's always talking shit. But I think they're kind of cute. But her, depending on their weapons, like, you know, you want to maximize your magazines and stuff. So I don't even know how far along in the game this person is. I don't recognize this particular area, but I'm getting ready to go into Haggis. But I'm spending more time in the White Knight area because I'm not quite done building my characters up. But yeah, so I don't recognize this. So they might be further along. Like some people have already gotten all the way through the first way. They're playing on a hard level now, but I'm still on the normal.
Reload weapon.
This must have been the training. Okay, I must have skipped this part. Looks like my person might be playing on PlayStation or Xbox or something. Actually, they are because it's set up differently than my PC.
Looks like the place could collapse at any.
I'm just kind of speeding up. More cinematics.
From Kingston
So
is
here's a
already
different
conducting an
character.
investigation.
I haven't got him yet.
You're being sent there to help. Make your preparations.
Okay. Yeah, this is like all still like training stuff. There's
Greetings,
another.
Senator.
That's.
I'm Lieutenant Charlie.
Okay, yeah, this I recognize.
Keep going. Head inside the building. There's another detector near the statue.
So annoying.
Yeah, you can tell this is early on because her weapon's not able to, depending on the weapon you use too. Like sometimes you'll have like a shotgun, maybe holds like 9 shots, or a handgun that maybe only holds like 20 rounds, and then like right now my thunder cage, because I've got like 4 different ultimates, but the only 2 I use right now with like Viesa is like the thunder cage, which really meant for Bunny more than Viesa, but I haven't got the utility yet to build my clairvoyant beam gun, because that's apparently her like go-to. But my machine gun right now spits out like 400 rounds. Like it can hold a lot. And then I have like I think either a beam gun under that, and then the handgun, which is an ultimate weapon, which I'm getting better with like building up the attack power, but I'm not quite where I want to be because some people are doing like 6 figures. I'm still only doing like 5. But I'm working on it. And it's a work in progress, as they say.
Second data set retrieved.
Reload weapon. Why now?
I want to see, are they going to show the reactors? Because I wish they would show, yeah, I mean, it all is gameplay, but yeah, it looks like they're not going to show it. So the thing is that that's pretty much all you're going to need to see as far as like how the playability is and stuff. But So as I told you, there's like these thing called modules, and you collect them as you're fighting along in a game. And reactors, weapons, you're collecting these through bosses and through different missions. And so like the reactors, they're all kind of a little bit different, but they're separated differently. So for Viesa, you want like the frozen reactor, and then for Bunny, you want the electric one, and so on. But you can upgrade them a little bit. And then the other thing is like, as you level up, like you get higher level items as well. So you can't level up your reactor. So you just have to, as you're running like these, it's basically like a group mission. You can queue in and join like 3 other people and go run the mill. Like those, that's the best way to really kind of gather up good weapons and reactors and modules. Same with boss fights. You can group up and do that. But you can't level up your reactor. So if you were like a level 50 reactor, you can't just upgrade it in any way other than enhance it with like stuff that you collect that you have made. But you can't like take a 50 to like a 60. You can't do it that way to a level 60. But weapons you can. So when I got my Thunder Cage, which is an ultimate weapon, it was level 1. And I was probably about a level 30 character. So really a level 1 weapon's not going to do much for you. So but what you can do is if you picked up a level 30 weapon and then you use that, broke it down and use that to enhance the level of the Thunder Cage, it would raise the Thunder Cage to 30. So it wouldn't give you some other benefits. You have to be careful because like I fucked up with my Thunder Cage because it had 3 ultimate stats on it. And the way, and be careful with this if you're going to play this game, don't do what I did. If you've ever played like a phone game where you know how you have stats and you can lock the ones you want to keep and then like replace the ones that you want to replace. Well, I forgot all about that method. So what happened was I went to go re-swipe and get new stats and I didn't lock out the ultimates. I locked out the one that I was trying to replace. So the good news is you can still go back and try to re-roll them and still find them. And so I eventually did get 3 ultimate stats and then 1 like legendary, basically mythic or whatever. It's in purple. So I locked in the ultimates and I may go back and re-roll them again, just depending on how I feel. But for now, that's what I got. And the other thing you have to be careful about is if, so like Bunny with the Thunder Cage, that's mainly her weapon. So whatever I do with that weapon, it's got to be more of a contribution to her than my other characters. Now, my other characters use that weapon because it's one of the best weapons I have. But right now, I'm at a stage where I am trying to mix in the type of weapons they actually use. So I'll be doing that. That's why I wish when it came to swapping out Descendants that I could just preset them, have them set up with the weapons they need. Even if you have those weapons in storage, they'd be taken out for that character once you load it up. But they don't do that because those weapons have to be in your inventory. But you know, you have to be careful not to delete it. You can favorite it, but it's really complicated in that way because you're trying to work fast. You gather a lot of shit all the time. And if you have your filter set at like a certain for a certain level, it will just delete them automatically, like group delete them for you. Now, usually you can set it to where it doesn't include like ultimate stats, and that usually helps protect you a little bit, but that's a risk. Like I just wish that once you set your preset with your character, unless you change it manually, I wish I could just load it up and everything would be the way I had it. Usually with the modules it does, but somehow it still affects your other characters if you have those modules loaded. Like it's really weird. I'm still learning, but it's still weird. So it's kind of a complicated thing, but it's a fun game, man. It's free. It's called the First Descendant, and if you love first-person shooter games, like I forget the one that young man was playing the other day at the car place that I went to get our car worked on, and the mechanic's son was playing a game, Fortnite. It's a lot like that, but it's free. And so there are some microtransactions for cosmetics that you can do, kind of like Diablo and stuff like that. If you want to do that and just change your character up a little bit. But it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. I hope they kind of allow you to customize some of the looks. It'd be nicer if they kind of adjusted some of that. So even if you're buying microtransactions, at least give you the option to change the color of the clothes a little bit, maybe the hair, facial features and stuff like that. Because they do sell those things as microtransactions. Like I got some different headshots for some of my females that, the helmets are cool, but I'd rather not have the helmets. I like to kind of see the faces and stuff like that. So it's a fun game. Check it out. It's called The First Descendant, and yeah, it's really a blast. And I don't know, man. Give me your thoughts on the feelings on any of this that I showed you today. This is kind of a last minute thing. I kind of just threw it all together, so it wasn't very organized, but I think I did okay, man. I think I did okay. So leave some comments, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content, and if you have any recommendations for games to try out, let me know. I'm always, as long as I'm interested in it, I'll check it out for sure. I'm trying to stream First Descendant. I've been having some trouble getting it to record and stream right, but I might try using StreamYard in some way, which means I still have to use Twitch, but I might be able to put Twitch on here and stream it through StreamYard. This way I don't have to really worry about recording it on the other computer where I'm playing from. So it's going to come down to testing it, really, and that's what I'll probably do. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Let me know your thoughts on stuff, and probably going to get a review for Shia's Conan a few hours from now, and then tomorrow I'll be on the Entertainment Headquarters at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk the Wishmaster franchise with Kevin Lambert and a few panel guests. I believe Crypt from Mental Mania will be there, and I think Anthony Jordan or maybe Mr. Tony Adet. I can't remember which one. But we're going to be on there talking about the franchise of Wishmaster if you're into horror films and stuff. So we're going to be doing that at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Entertainment Headquarters. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, which hopefully I'm still awake by then, I will be guesting on Sci-Fi Society with Sci-Fi Century to review, again, The Crow with some paneled guests on there. We're going to be breaking down and reviewing The Crow, one of my all-time favorite films. So be sure to be on the Sci-Fi Society channel to check out that at 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you here next time on the Metal Time Radio podcast.